Hey guys, welcome to the channel. In today's video I'm going to be taking my Nintendo Switch Pro controller and turning it from this into this. This is Steve from Restalgia, and let's get started. Alright guys, so I picked up this kit right off of Amazon, and as you can see here, there's a few different designs. It comes with 5 different colors. You've got pure white, ice blue, jungle green, an SNES style controller, and you've also got the classic atomic purple. What I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be doing the ice blue transition, and I'm going to show you guys how to disassemble your Nintendo Switch controller and get this thing set up. So let's go ahead and open up the box and see what we got. Alright guys, so in the box we've got multicolored buttons, we've got a front faceplate, and we've also got a matching rear faceplate too. All that we need for this mod is a 00 size Phillips screwdriver. First thing that we're going to do is remove the 2 screws on the bottom of the Switch Pro controller. Next, we just need to pop off the grips on the bottom of the controller on both sides. Next, we've got 4 Phillips screws that we need to remove from around the controller, and this is where they're located. Now we can remove the back faceplate, and we can set it aside because we don't need this anymore. The next thing that we need to do is remove 3 additional screws, and they're located right here. Perfect, now we just need to pop the battery out, and that just pops out really nice and easy. We're going to set this aside for later. Behind the battery compartment, there's 2 additional screws that need to be removed. So we're going to go ahead and remove those now. Now we have to gently pry apart the mid plate from the front plate. There is some double-sided adhesive in here, so you just need to be very careful when you're pulling it apart. And once you get it separated, be very careful because there is a flex cable attaching the mid plate to the front plate, and you want to be sure that you don't accidentally break that cable. Next, what we need to do is we need to disconnect the ribbon cable by popping up the connector, and the ribbon will just come loose. Now we can set the mid plate aside for later. Next, there's another ribbon cable that we need to disconnect, which is for the trigger buttons along the top of the controller. What we need to do is pop up the connector, and we need to remove that wire. Next, there's 3 screws that we need to pop out. So we're going to go ahead and remove those now. And then we can take off our trigger buttons from the assembly. We're going to set that aside so we can reassemble it later. There's 1 additional screw hidden underneath of this ribbon cable. We need to remove this screw so we can take off the PCB board. Now that the screw's gone, we can pop off the board, and we can set that aside. And now we need to remove all of the plastic covers and the buttons from the controller. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that now. Sometimes you'll find it's a little bit easier to get the pieces out with a small set of tweezers, so that's what I went ahead and did. So keep in mind for this mod, we were actually given replacement buttons. So I don't actually need these buttons here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to set them aside with the front cover. So now we've got our replacement buttons and our new shell. So now we're just going to go ahead and put in our new buttons into our new faceplate. This is pretty easy. There is only one way that these buttons fit in, so you don't have to worry about accidentally putting them in the wrong order. Next, we're going to reattach all of our rubber housing and magnetic attachments, and we're going to go ahead and put in all the rest of the buttons. Perfect. So now we need to reattach our PCB board. And it's going to just slide in place nicely. Next, we have to attach the single screw that we had taken out. Now we're going to go ahead and attach our trigger buttons. And once those are in place, we're going to attach the 3 screws that hold it all in place. We're going to go ahead and reattach this flex cable. We need to make sure that the slot is open and the cable can slide right into it, and then we're going to seal it down and make sure that it's got a solid connection. Next, we have to reattach this flex cable to our mid housing. This was a little bit difficult, it took a little bit of time, so just be careful when you're doing it, but you will eventually get it. Now we just have to slide our mid plate into our front plate. The alignment can be a little bit tricky to make sure that your analog sticks are not blocking the way, but once you make sure you've got it, it should just snap into place. As you can see, I was struggling a little bit with it, but it did end up going in. It took me just a couple of minutes. Now we just have to reattach the 2 screws underneath of the batteries. We're going to reattach the 3 screws around the mid plate. We're going to go ahead and pop our battery back in. And again, this is nice and easy. There's only one way that it fits. Now we're going to go ahead and grab the new back plate, and we're going to pop this in place, and it'll just snap right in. And it feels nice and sturdy. So now we're just going to go ahead and re-add the 4 screws that we had taken out earlier. There we go. Now we need to slide on the grips to the bottom of our controller again. And the last step that we need to do is just pop in the 2 screws. Alright guys, so that's the controller. It is now completely assembled, and as you can see, it does look really, really sharp. I do have to say that the build quality is some of the best that I've ever used. The plastic felt really nice and sturdy, everything fit together really well, and I didn't even have any issues rethreading the screws. Everything went in really, really nicely. I definitely recommend this case. Now, I paid about $40 Canadian for it, which is a little bit on the high end, but if you're looking for an alternative to your standard Nintendo Switch Pro Controller case, this is definitely going to be the one that you are going to want to pick up and try. I'll leave a link to these in the description down below. But that's it for this video, guys. Thank you guys so very much for watching. Make sure to give the video a thumbs up, share it, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. I'll talk to you guys again real soon.